Christian Whiton joins us now. He's a former senior advisor to the Trump and Bush administrations. Christian, great to see you.
Good to see you, too. Thanks.
All right. So if the goal is to get rid of nuclear weapons, tell us how testing nuclear weapons helps.
I think testing nuclear weapons would prove the reliability and safety of our nuclear deterrent force, which, as you pointed out, hasn't been tested since 1992. I mean, if there was something on which you relied for your security, say a car or, a shotgun for home defense, and you hadn't taken it out of the closet and dusted it, I'm exaggerated a little. Parts of the bombs are tested, just not the actual physics package that creates a nuclear explosion. But it's time to test things for two reasons. One, because of the duration of time you mentioned since the last test, but also we've been redesigning and tinkering with the designs of some of these warheads, including the relatively newish B-61-13 bomb. It's a gravity bomb. The B-61 is not a new bomb. The 13 is a new version. And really the idea that you would place your entire national security and the credibility of your nuclear deterrent on something that's never actually gone boom, I think is unreasonable. And the last point I would make is that testing these weapons, especially at low yield in the Nevada desert, where there have been over 1,000 tests since 1945, is not a big deal. It poses no radiological risk to the population.
Plus, I think we need some new footage of nuclear explosions. We keep using all the old ones. President Trump mentioned that Russia is second when it comes to testing nuclear weapons. The Kremlin confirmed that it tested the Poseidon nuclear-powered underwater drone, a massive torpedo designed to deliver a warhead from 1,000 or more miles away. Talk to us about this, and obviously our decision to test more nuclear weapons can't be isolated from the fact that Russia just announced a new nuclear weapon.
Yeah, it seems to be cause and effect, and the Russians are also saying they've tested a nuclear-powered rocket, which is an interesting concept that was explored by the United States in the 50s and abandoned in the 60s is unrealistic. The idea of using a small reactor creates a bunch of heat that pushes air like a ramjet. It certainly is meant to destabilize. It's a reminder that actually when we ship arms to Ukraine or give the Ukrainians permission to use weapons deep inside Russia, it is not consequence-free. The Russians will find a way to react. Russians have a few more warheads than we do, actually, in their stockpile. And most alarming, the Chinese have been increasing rapidly. So that makes arms control deals with Russia complicated because we can't decide we're going to be at parity or go down with Russia if China is coming up. North Korea is another problem. So I think Trump sees this as a problem that's out of hand and is trying to react in a way that's very safe and that would remind people of our own advantage. After all, we did invent this technology.
Right. That has always been Vladimir Putin's kind of trump card, pardon the pun. But, what would it take to get him to use those tactical nuclear weapons, and what will he tolerate? That is an open question. I also want to focus on President Trump's meeting with Xi Jinping earlier today. This is what he had to say about it.
But overall, I guess on the scale of from 0 to 10, with 10 being the best, I would say the meeting was a 12. I think it was a 12. I think, very importantly, just the whole relationship is very, very important. And I think it was really good.
Little turbulence during the answer there, Christian. But what do you think? A 12 out of 10, what grade would you give it?
Knowing math, I don't like to say 110%. So let's say 100%. I think it was great to get the Chinese to agree. The question is, will they comply with their agreements? They agreed to buy a lot of soybeans, and so far they've actually bought a couple of cargoes. They need to buy a lot more to comply with the agreement. They agreed to reduce the flow of fentanyl. You heard the Reagan, from the Reagan era, trust but verify. But here we have to distrust and verify. The Chinese broke the agreement they made with Trump in his first term to buy more agricultural goods. So we'll have to watch, but he got them to back off on rare earths, and Trump has made a bunch of other agreements with Japan and Thailand and Cambodia and Australia and here in the United States to make rare earths. So the Chinese essentially just agreed to tear up their Trump card because they will allow us to basically develop an independent capability, which we should have had a long time ago. And finally, according to reliable sources, Trump raised Jimmy Lai, the issue of the imprisoned Hong Kong publisher, with Xi Jinping, which shows that Donald Trump is not just transactional. It's not just about money. Right. Like other Americans, like Ronald Reagan, he believes in human rights and thinks that as long as we speak from confidence, we can raise issues that the Chinese may not want to hear.
Yeah, no real discussion about Taiwan which seems like a very sticky wicket for President Trump and Xi Jinping right now. But there is prospects for another meeting in the United States with President Xi. We'll wait for that. Christian Whiton, great to have you with us. Thanks so much.
Thanks. Appreciate it.